why evil is kind of great, part whatever this is. 3. So the account of the beginning of this world is very informative and foundational, because you see with Adam and Eve how things were before there was evil. So what a perfect opportunity to see what the difference would be like. Adam and Eve, when they were in the Garden of Eden at first, they did not know good from evil. There was no evil, effectively. It had not been introduced into the world because, it existed, of course, but they didn't know it until they partook of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And that's when they came to know good and evil, and that's when evil was kind of introduced. But basically, when we're babies, we're a lot like Adam and Eve, because we don't know we're naked, for one thing. Little kids love to run around naked, and they don't think twice about it. It's pretty fun when you're not worried about it. And that becomes pretty embarrassing, I guess, if depending on how normal you are. I don't know. But they weren't self-conscious that way, and I don't know exactly how that's tied, their kind of self-reflectiveness, their self-consciousness, how that's tied to their knowledge of good and evil, but somehow it is. And that's maybe a discussion for another day. But they were in a state of innocence. God commanded them to multiply and replenish the earth, even though they kind of couldn't in their state. We have a discussion about that. But basically, they went from that state of innocence to all of a sudden they knew good from evil. And I guess leading up to that, Satan comes to Eve, talked through the mouth of the snake, or however that went. But he talked to Eve and said, hey, you should have some of this fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Well, let me back up a little bit. When Adam and Eve were introduced to the garden or whatever by God, he said, okay, all the fruit of all these trees you can eat. But there's one tree that you can't eat, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Don't eat the fruit of that tree. And by the way, I'm putting it right here in the middle of the garden, smack dab in the middle. Here it is, and I forbid you to eat it. But, have a good time in the garden, enjoy yourselves, and I'm going to go away now. I'm going to go away. I won't be here. So, do whatever you want to do. Remember, I forbid you to eat the fruit of this tree, but it's there. And you can't choose to eat it, but I forbid you. And I'm going away now, so bye. And he goes away, of course, and the Lord knew exactly what he was doing. He was placing them in a situation where it would be them who chose to partake of the fruit of the tree against his commandment. Against his will? I wouldn't say so, because the Lord needed the world to happen like it is, to bring his children here and us to have this experience so we can progress and become like him and everything else. So I don't know how you could say it's against his will, but it was against his commandment. He set up this thing. It's been said that it was a transgression, but not a sin. And I believe that's true. And Eve, is approached by Satan. Satan says, hey, what about that tree right there? Why aren't you eating of that one? Well, Father told us not to eat that tree, eat the fruit of that tree. Oh, you can eat the fruit of that tree. You're not going to die. But it's going to make you wise. You'll know good from evil. And in saying that, he was telling them it was true. One thing he said was true, and this is the way Satan always works. He mixes truth with lies, and that's kind of how he gets us, it seems to me. But the truth was that you'll know good from evil, and you'll become as the gods. The lie was that you won't die as a result. That part directly contradicted what God said, because he said, in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. And they did. Eventually, in the day, however you count that. So Eve, responds to that temptation, or that kind of, I think it was a temptation, by Lucifer, by Satan. Lucifer in the premortal realm, I guess. Satan in the, after that. So Satan, at this point. And she responds to that and says, okay, well, so really it makes you wise. It seems like that's a good thing, knowing good from evil. It seems like a necessary thing, right? And it seems to me like we need that. And she was right. She was absolutely right. And she kind of asks, is there no other way to know good from evil? And Satan says there's no other way. And I guess he was right about that. And she makes the decision to partake of the fruit. She knows very well that her Father in heaven had commanded them not to take that fruit. She takes it. She goes to Adam. She says, Adam should take some of this fruit. And Adam immediately says, Eve, what are you doing? Don't you know what fruit that is? And she says, yeah, it's the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. He's like, you know that Father commanded us not to partake of it. I can't eat that fruit. I'm not going to. Adam is very, very kind of, straightforward. Is like I don't know if a typical man is fair or not, but he's just like, Father commanded me not to take it. I'm not going to take it. End of story. And Eve is kind of tries to help Adam see outside the box, his box or whatever, and be like, Adam, look, for one thing, I've taken this fruit, and that's going to cause me to be cast out of the garden, and then you're going to stay in the garden. And how's that going to work out? How am I going to fare out there without you? How's it going to be without me when you're in the garden? We're supposed to multiply and replenish the earth. We can't do that. And Adam thinks about it, and he's like, you know what, Eve, you're totally right. That's not going to work. So I'm going to, and he made the decision, I'm gonna take the fruit too. That's what I have to do. And he was absolutely right to do that. And thanks to our glorious mother Eve and Father Adam, we are here. And they brought to pass the great plan of our Father in heaven, his great wisdom. The cunning of the devil was cunning, was good, but it wasn't as good as the wisdom of God. And then after Adam says, yeah, I see that this is what we need to do. I need to take it. I'm going to take it. That's the decision I'm making. I know that Father commanded us not to take that fruit, but here we are. And at this point, it's actually the right thing to do. Kind of crazy, because Adam, Father told me to do this, I'm going to do this, end of story. But he was brought to think outside the box a little bit. And Eve kind of told him, Adam, it's better this way anyway. It's better that we experience sorrow and suffering so that we can know good from evil. It's a necessary thing. It's the only way, actually, to know good from evil, is to experience the sorrow. There's just no other way to learn good from evil. But it's good for us, guys. Being on the earth and going through all this stuff, it doesn't seem like it sometimes. It seems like it's going to kill us or break us or turn us from God. But in the long run, It really, even for people who it does make them turn away temporarily, in the long run, it's good for us. And at the very end, by the time the judgment day comes, it'll all be turned for our gain. Even the sufferings that some will have to endure for their own transgressions. Don't you think? So, they made that decision thanks to our wonderful, glorious parents. Adam, one of the noblest spirits of our Father in heaven, and surely Eve too. Adam was kind of the captain of all the armies of Father in heaven in the premortal realm, and fought Lucifer and his angels, and he will do so again at the end of the world and conquer. And they made the right decision, and it is my conviction, my friends, that our Father in heaven, when he called them and had asked them to give an accounting of what they'd done and discuss that with them, that may not seem like it from the account and stuff, but he was proud of them. He was very proud of his noble son Adam and his noble daughter Eve. They were some of his best sons and daughters. And they had done the right thing. And they were set to be the head of the human family. And here we are, and we owe them so much. And we will one day be able to rise and bless Adam and also Eve. Okay, so yeah, and the Lord asked them to give an accounting. What have you done? The serpent beguiled me. I partook of the fruit. Adam, what about you? Well, Eve gave me the fruit, and so I ate it. And the cursing of the world was set forth. So here's how it works. Now that you've done this, it's not going to be easy anymore. Not going to be easy anymore. You haven't really experienced suffering, but now there's going to be suffering. Not because you did the wrong thing, but because it's necessary for you to learn. And everybody's going to have to go through this. You're going to earn your bread by the sweat of your brow. You're going to have to work your whole life. The ground isn't going to bring forth fruit and food spontaneously. You're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to plow the earth and till it and tend it and work for your food. Everything you eat, your whole life, till you die. Childbirth is going to be very painful, and everything else. It's going to have lots of sorrow on the earth, but also great blessings. And it's going to be good for you. It's going to make you into something so great. And it'll be the perfect lesson for you, and the perfect school for you to learn to be like I am. And in the end, it's going to make you glorious and happy. Okay, we're going to call it good there, guys. Thanks for bearing with me if you did. And how does that make evil kind of great? Well, this world is filled with evil now, right? Eve chose evil. Adam chose evil. If you want to, I hope I'm putting that the right way. They chose to bring evil into the world, and as opposed to not knowing good and evil and not progressing. We need evil to progress. Guys, we need to have the choice, or we're not free. Satan, Lucifer, before the world was, wanted there kind of not to be evil, right? He didn't want us to have agency. What is agency? Agency is the knowledge of good and evil. We talk about agency a lot of times like it's freedom in general, But I would submit that it's not freedom in general. It's freedom to choose good and evil, specifically. Moral agency. Samuel the Lamanite said, God has given you knowledge and made you free. Speaking of good and evil. And you can look that up in other scriptures. But yeah, Satan did not want us to have evil. He didn't really maybe believe that we would rise to the occasion and overcome it. He thought it may be a better plan to level out the playing field and not give us the choice, basically. Nobody would be lost, but nobody would be able to be like God. There's more of a discussion for that, maybe. But all right, we'll stop there. Talk to you later.